What is going on? You are watching, listening to the live version of Tags Podcast. That's what I'm talking about. Tags Live, episode 297. I'm your host, Steve V, alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How you doing?
Hello, darling. I'm doing well. How are you doing this lovely, lovely evening in September? I almost forgot what month it was, child.
I know, exactly. I'm doing really well back here. New York's such a great place to be in September it's the beginning. Everybody is back in business. Fashion Week begins. U.S. Open's
Mm,
happening. Restaurants are all kind of happen. The weather seems to be perfect temperature. So to me, it's a great time. But I was curious to know, how do you like this time of year? Because when we were kids, obviously it was back to school.
yeah,
And now it's kind of, a lot of people think, oh, the hot back summer's over with.
it's over. I'm
Back
so
to
sad.
back to business. And I was reading it. So how do you normally handle this time of year in general?
I hunker down and I get back to what I know and get back to, it's not playtime anymore, basically. I get back to work. I get back to doing things that I have so many things planned for October. I can't wait to talk to you about.
Ooh, okay, yes.
Yes.
I love it. Well, the reason I say that too, because I was reading this article by Brandon Alter of The Spiritual Gaze, and he talks about this particular time of year, this particular time, it's Virgo season,
Hmm.
and blame it on the moon because Virgo rules over mental health. And writes this article that I'll post this up on TAGSPodcast.com because it's a really
Okay.
he's very honest about blame it. I'll read a little bit. Blame it on a never-ending global pandemic. Blame the patriarchy. Blame the moon. But this
Blame it on a
tarot,
boogie.
blame it on the boogie. Blame it on Rio. But this tarot reader, he writes, is struggling a little bit because apparently it does have to do, Virgo, with mental health and with everything that's going on. I mean, I used to, Kodi, be such a avid news watcher, but kind of
Hmm.
stopped for a minute. I mean, I'm keeping up
Yeah.
with what's going on, but it could be a depressing time. And since we've thought COVID was kind of be all clear, or at least better, it's worse. And so, yeah, I just think we got to look out for our brothers and our sisters and
Amen.
theys
That's
and
right.
all of the pronouns, because it could be, everybody check out for your brother and your sister. Is that what I have to
Yes.
say?
Mental health is paramount. Make sure you're taking care of that mental and that physical and that inner soul. So,
Exactly. Well, we've got a full show for you,
we do.
jam-packed of hot sex topics, one after another, right, Kodi? We were preparing for
Pop,
this
pop.
one, pop, and we got to keep it moving. The first story, though, we have to talk about China. Wow, China has been in the news. I was watching the news a little bit earlier today, and they're about to celebrate 100 years of just the same rule,
Hmm.
and it's communism, essentially, is what they're about
Yes.
to celebrate. And with that, the news story was just talking about all of the rules and restrictions, things like school. Kids are going to only have so much time on their apps. It's going to be across the board. You get like an hour a day.
What?
It's all designed to focus on the family, but they're really ruling out things like tutors. No people, foreigners can be tutors. And then it's even streamed
Wow.
to our LGBTQ. And can you believe China has now banned, and I'm quoting this, sissy men as
What?
yeah, and the one they're coming after is Korean K-pop band BTS, who, by the way, Kodi, isn't even gay, but because I think they're pretty boys, that goes
Yeah.
into, I'll read you a little bit. According to Variety, China's national radio and television admin, the same organization that has banned gay content for years, recently updated its regulations. And last Thursday, the organization organization called for further regulation of arts and entertainment shows and related personnel after noting some portions of the entertainment field severely polluting the social atmosphere. And they
Oh
go
my
on to
goodness.
say broadcasters must now resolutely put an end to sissy men and other abnormal aesthetics. Quote, end of quote.
What?
As well as, quote, vigorously promote excellent Chinese traditional culture, revolutionary culture, and advanced socialist culture, and avoid promoting vulgar internet celebrities who have, quote, lost morality. And they even used an anti-gay slur when describing certain celebrities. But, you know, shout out to our listeners in China, because we do actually have them. And
Yeah.
I look on this, we have this platform that distributes all over the world, and I see where various people listen to Tags podcast, and we do have some in China. And
I
guess
love
they're
that.
I guess they're not onto us yet, Kodi podcast, because we are vulgar and we do
And I'm a sissy man. I can't get a job in China.
Sissy that walk, Kodi. I mean,
girl, we put that on the TikTok. Okay,
I've been known to sissy that walk before too.
Get
let me
it.
just say, yeah. So shout out to us. Hang in there, our friends over there. But what were your first thoughts with that about China banning, quote, sissy men?
I could not believe it. I was aghast. And then they're coming for BTS like that.
BTS.
They don't even go there. They're not Korean. That is what really caught me. Like, are they really coming at BTS like at their necks like that? They're such a, I feel like they're a wholesome. They preach unity and just coming together and all those things. And I love the band and what their mission statement and what they stand for. And I really think it's kind of crazy, and it highlights how dangerous it is to be gay in other parts of the world. It's insane. And
yeah,
we have plenty of sissy men here in America on TV, but we still have more strides to go as a country before we're truly equal to our straight counterparts. And we should not forget about our LGBTQ family in other countries. So we got to fight that good fight.
Yeah, because it's interesting here. BTS is used on a phone commercial to promote it. And at this point, I know my mom even knows who BTS is, my 84-year-old mom. And so we've done an about face, but we've certainly had our issues with Asians and Asian hatred towards the community recently. So we have our own work, but yes, we cannot forget about our global partners and brothers and sisters. And it did get me thinking, though, because Dancing with the Stars just announced their lineup.
Okay.
Their D-list lineup of celebrities.
Wow, D-list.
All right, C+ at best.
I was gonna go C-, but okay, give it to
one of them though, and I think you know this. JoJo, do you know JoJo, the performer singer JoJo
Siwa? I know Jan's Snatch Game version of JoJo Siwa. That's all I know about JoJo Siwa, and I know that they came out.
Yes, they came out. Right.
Yes.
Exactly. She has a girlfriend currently, and she's going to be on the new Dancing with the Stars. And this is a biggie for the franchise because I think they're in their 24th or 6th season. I can't remember.
Wow.
And it's ABC, which is owned by Disney. But the thing about it was they're partnering JoJo up with a female partner dancer. And I think this will be kind of breakthrough. It's probably good because it's going to draw all of her fans and keep this franchise young and fresh.
Yes.
But on the other hand, people like my mom, again, another fan of Dancing with the Stars, is going to be watching this, and I think it will expose same-sex couples and dancing for this huge pop culture phenomenon. The only thing I was wondering now, speaking of sissy men, is why do you think why didn't they choose 2 men to be the first? And do you think, Kodi, they will ever have on Dancing with the Stars 2 men dancing together?
I hate to say it, but I kind of don't think that they will ever have 2 men dancing together or Dancing with the Stars. I know that this is iconic and it's a step in the right direction, but I don't see them making another step and having 2 men dance together on Dancing with the Stars. When they had Johnny Weir on the show,
right? That would have been a great opportunity.
That would have been a great opportunity. He is amazing. He's a lovely addition to the LGBTQ community, but he's not the most masculine person. That would have been a great opportunity to pair him with another masculine man. And they always used to tell him that he needed to like butch it up, quote unquote. And this was coming from the panel of queens that were on the judging panel too. So it was kind of crazy.
You're
to
kidding.
me.
They did not say that, did they?
They didn't, and not so many words.
Was it more dependent because maybe he was doing something where, oftentimes in dancing, in that kind of paired up dancing,
okay,
if they're doing a theme, like say the tango and
or
one
the
of them
paso doble. I love the paso
doble, and it calls for one to be leading and not dominating, but showing a sort of mood. Maybe they meant that, but I hope they didn't say butch it up. But
they didn't say butch it up, but they said
like your T-shirt says today in pink.
I mean, of course, because I'm the butchest of them all, right?
That walk. It's interesting because hello to Silas out there watching us live today on the Get Vocal platform, says, speaking of JoJo, she's considered young, white, and non-threatening. And so I think with that, he's right. You know what I mean? She is non-threatening. So they went with somebody that's kind of, I've seen a little bit of her. She has rainbows in her hair and she's dancing. She's non-threatening. And she's white. Interesting choice. It is a very not conservative, but it's mainstream franchise, the Dancing with the Stars, that is. And so I'm not, the good point, Silas. That,
and she fits gender norms, quote unquote, again, because
she does.
Johnny Weir is kind of opposed. He's more feminine, I should say.
Well, we have to start somewhere, and I just hope that the franchise continues and follows up the next season with 2 men. That would only be right. If
that's the next logical step, right?
If they do that, then I'd be really happy. Yeah, well,
let's do it.
This show will be on TV, and we are shopping our TV pilot, so it is totally possible. And yes, so we'll see, but we have our eye on them, and we'll see. We've got to move on though, because we've got this story about there's a new app that's a little bit different from all the others. It's called Sniffies. Have you heard of it, Kodi?
Not until today.
And the only reason I heard about Sniffies is because Cocky Boys. You guys know Cocky Boys out there?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and because we're always talking.
Exactly.
And because we're always talking about Austin Wolf, they have a new mini series on the cockyboys.com site. And by mini series, I just think it's a little bit more of a story. And they do several stories that are kind of related. And they're about 25 minutes each, or at least the one that I was looking at on their cockyboys.com. And it's with Austin Wolf and another guy. Shows Ari Avanti is the first one they premiered. And the CEO and co-director Jackson of Cocky Boys commented, and quote, "I am loving our new catch and release series. It was inspired by a new site I recently discovered called Sniffies.com, dedicated to the art of real-time cruising. The total opposite. He goes, the total opposite of swipe left, swipe right, grinder game. And no, he says, this is not a paid collaboration. I'm just happy to see a hookup site that celebrates and welcomes sex exploration. It welcomes you to be a perv and enjoy yourself while doing it."
Love that.
Being one perv reading this
and talking to another
who sissies that walk sometimes and is pervy, I couldn't help but get on there, and I went on the desktop version of it, but I think for some reason I couldn't find it on the apps. Maybe we'll try and get the creators of it on the show and they can explain it a little bit more, but apparently it's new.
That's a great idea.
And I went on my desktop and it pulls up, as long as you have your location services on, it pulled up like a map of various little pinpoints of dicks and butts and all within like my radius of an area, and it does encourage, you don't have to put on a profile if you don't want to. So you can kind of go on anonymously like you would,
Okay.
Kodi.
I did already.
Okay.
If purely scientific research purposes, though.
Yes, exactly. For the show. Always
For the show. Always for the show, honey.
Always for the show. Thank you for doing that. I did the same thing too, and realized that, yeah, I could see people in my area, and you can put up a profile and get all involved. And I even looked, and you get more perks if you pay a fee. But if you just want to get on there, and a lot of what they encouraged, I saw on there, one guy when I was on there said something like, I'm at Crate and Barrel on 6th Avenue, and
Crate and Barrel.
and I'm gonna be at, and he put, and I'm about to go to the Container Store at 4:55 p.m.
Girl,
but he then said, I'm gonna be, but later at 5:30, I'll be in Jersey at some park in Jersey that he was looking for somebody to meet in the park. And
okay,
I think
that
that's
is a little bit better.
Somebody else was like, I'm in the bathroom at some store.
Okay.
Maybe he was at Crate and Barrel, and you should have met the first guy, and they could have. Oh, wait. One was uptown and one was downtown. I don't know. But yeah. And so you can it encourages those kinds of, what's your first thoughts on this? And it's new.
Well, it's not what I originally thought it was going to be called. Being called Sniffies.
You thought it was what?
I thought it was
underwear.
I was going to be like, okay, can I buy some underwear to sniff on there? Can I sell my underwear to sniff on there? I'm all
not
about the coins.
your underwear.
You don't have to, boo. I got plenty of fiends. Okay.
Okay.
And they can call me and let me know, DM me, and I'll send them some freshly worn underwear, and they can sniff those.
For a small fee.
A small fee, honey.
I'll, of course, take your managerial 20%.
Okay, you get 20%.
And then we'll whittle it down. You heard it here.
Nice.
Kodi's offering his underwear used.
I am. I totally am. I have more than enough.
Nasty ass. We're going to be talking about hygiene a little bit later in the show, and you'll see how nasty Kodi really is.
Mm-hmm. But I think this is an interesting concept because I don't know how it would compare to actual real cruising, because there's always like the thrill of the hunt that comes along with cruising, and that tension and not knowing whether or not they're really interested until you engage one another in a steamy embrace. I don't know if this is making anybody else hot, but it's making me hot.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think it's a hybrid of what we already know, because it's essentially, I was trying to find out and look at how is this really different from Grindr, but it's like pinpointing people wherever they're at, and you can log on when you want to. You can on this and just go on there. So say if you were out and about in a place that maybe there's going to be a lot of guys and you just wanted to have a quick hookup, you can kind of create your cruising, curate, if you will, curate your cruising experience. They should just hire me, for crying out loud. And
that's right.
But to your point, it's not as spontaneous as a true cruising experience might be.
It takes some of the suspense out of it. Yeah.
But you might not spend so many hours like you do on Grindr and the other apps just looking and getting nowhere. This kind of puts it more on the moment.
It's like a planned cruising, basically.
Yeah. Which, if you know places that are cruising central, then great. But if you it might be fun to turn this on in the airport.
That's a
know
great
what I'm
thing
saying?
Right there. That's a very good idea. Or
while you're waiting for the
what?
train. Yeah. Or you're shopping with somebody and you're like, oh my God, I need a break. Let me sniff around this mall and see what I find. So from that aspect, I like that. I think it's kind of cool. What do you Silas goes, they don't call it a layover for nothing.
Ooh,
exactly.
Hey.
So I like it, and maybe we'll try and get them on the show and explain it a little bit more, particularly the perks, because if you pay into it, you always get a little something extra.
Oh yeah.
And
And I
that
want to
could
hear
be
some testimonials too.
right. But I hate to report this next story because the Netherlands
Hmm.
is always known to be so progressive, and the Dutch and it's just a great place. Amsterdam is so indiscriminate, and yet currently they
Very
are in the
accepting.
news. I hated to even piggyback off of the last story because there apparently is a wave of violence hitting Dutch cruising spots. So shout out
Hmm.
to our Dutch listeners, and be careful. Over the past few months, several men have been attacked within the Dutch area of, forgive me, listeners, Nord
Yeah.
Brabant. Am I saying that right,
I
Kodi?
do not envy you right now.
I know. Thank you. Please, somebody correct me, listeners. But many of these cases involve men being beaten with batons, pepper sprayed, tasered, and more, according to the NL Times. But again, 4 teenagers aged 18 and 19 were arrested last Thursday, September 2nd, in connection to these multiple crimes. And it's just horrible. An acquaintance of somebody was pelted with eggs. He showed me the bruises and all kinds
Wow.
of threatened verbally abused. Someone had just pepper sprayed and all. And again, the Netherlands is considered one of the world's most progressive countries when it comes to
Hmm.
LGBTQ rights and acceptance. It was the first country in the world to legalize gay marriage back in '01. And even before that, homosexuality was declassified as a mental illness in 1973, and a ban on
Wow.
discrimination based on sexual orientation in the military shortly followed. So they've always been ahead of the curve, Kodi. But
Yeah.
so when you hear stuff like this and cruising, you just got to be careful, I think, is the key. That's all.
Stay
You,
safe.
yeah, I mean, I think the only difference about cruising than going to somebody's house is sometimes, at least, if you're in the Container Store, there are people there. You can't with the Container Store.
I cannot. It just reminds me of khakis and
It's
it just
containers. And people on headsets helping you out, constructing your
I,
shelving. And
I think I've only
yeah,
been there one time,
it's all
and
very
it
back, but it's all very back to school right now to have shelving
okay.
made and
Go
containers.
ahead.
So the kids are all there, the college students are all there. But I
So
do,
are you're
yeah.
advocating for the Container Store and hooking up there? Okay, all right. I see you. I see. I know where you'll be. So
I've
that's all.
got one I've got one 2 blocks away
I know
from
you
me,
do. That's why I said it.
and I have Sniffies, and I'm gonna try and get it on at least to get it on the app, and I might sniff around the Container Store and see if I can find.
Get it, girl.
But I might ask for some ID, and yeah, just because I want this to be legal beagles.
That's right.
So we'll see. Yeah, but be careful, guys, out there. And we do not mean to minimize any crimes that are happening across the country or the world, for that matter, because
Definitely.
it's very serious. And yeah. All right. Well, we've got to move on. And this story, you're going to have to keep up with this. Kodi, I'm talking about in Pornstar news. In
Okay.
Pornstar alert, I've got some breaking news. This comes from our friends over at Straight Up Gay Porn, or at least I'd like them to be my friends. But okay, I'm just going to read you the headline. Leaked text messages show Jax Thirio cheated on Troye Jacobs with
Okay.
Jax's ex-boyfriend Jesse Bolton, whom Thirio admits to using as his trophy. So there's, just keep in mind, so there's Jax Thirio, who's kind of the older out of all of them. I don't know how old he is, probably in
He's the
his
daddy of the group.
He's the daddy of the group, and apparently likes his original boyfriend is Jesse Bolton, and he, I guess, broke up with him to be with this guy Troye Jacobs. So just last month, performers Troye Jacobs and Jax Thirio made headlines as gay porn's newest power couple. But today it looks like the May-December romance is almost over. And the split comes amid leaked text messages shared on Twitter by Troye Jacobs. And the screenshots appeared to show that Jax Thirio cheated on Troye with Jax's ex-boyfriend, gay porn star Jesse Bolton. And in a cruel twist, they write, it was Jesse who sent the text to Troye, apparently to rub it in Troy's face that Jax had come back to Jesse. And they showed the text. Did you read these, Kodi?
Yeah, I did, but I'm already confused.
Okay. So all you got to really, I know, for listeners, all you got to know is there's this daddy, porn star Jax Thirio, and his original boyfriend was Jesse, but he's now with Troye. But he apparently, Troye, the current boyfriend, found messages where he was texting back and forth with his old boyfriend, Jesse.
Yes.
And because they're all performers, Troye decided to leak these. And perhaps the most hurtful text of all, Jesse Bolton sent Troye. So the ex-boyfriend sent the new boyfriend, Troye.
Yes.
A message that read, "You ain't shit." Beneath that text, Jesse sent Troye. So Jesse sent Troye a video of Jax fucking Jesse along with the caption, "Currently," meaning they're fucking right now, indicating that the sex was happening in real time. And according to Troye, the original one, the new boyfriend, he and Jax were still an item as of last night, meaning that Jax was cheating on him in this video. And the daddy, back to the daddy, in a text exchange to his original boyfriend, Jesse, said he was only with him, Troye, to advance his career and to get new content because they all do OnlyFans.
That's right.
And that's how it got really messy.
That's how it got really messy.
Well, so I mean, the way the story ended was essentially that they decided to share with Straight Up Gay Porn some of these texts, and they asked Jax Thirio, send us the text. He sent a redacted version of the text, and it was only until Jesse, the boyfriend, sent the full length that shows that Thirio was really with this Troye to advance his career, and that but he has a history of doing this in the past to another boyfriend. So I know it's hard to keep up with, but I will post this on TAGSPodcast.com.
Yeah.
But essentially it's a three-way
thruple type
thing.
Cheating on craziness.
I mean, what do you first?
I like that word.
I like that word too. Kerfuffle.
Yes. It is crazy to me, this situation, and all parties. I was talking to you earlier about this, and I was like, oh, it just seems like the ex-boyfriend, I think his name is Jesse.
Yeah.
He's just getting. Look at that bitch! I got it. I'm on it. We'll see for how long I'm on it.
Right.
Jesse is just reacting to being hurt and fucked over basically by Jax. But that's not the case, because if he would not have texted Troye currently, that I would have totally been on his side.
Me too. Yeah.
All parties are trash. Going on record
back now.
I know, right? All parties are not in the right. They all have some element of wrong they're doing, especially Jax, because Jax, it seems like he's doing this only for publicity. He might even be pulling this stunt for publicity, so that he can get his.
I didn't know that they need to. Well, you know what? Right, because he says to elevate his career.
Yeah. So what
fans, but I mean, to get, they can all work. Like, for example, Kodi, you and I could be in a relationship and have our OnlyFans accounts separately, and we can sometimes work together. But you're not going to get mad at me if I shoot 5 scenes next week with 5 different people, because that's kind of the name of the game, and you're going to shoot 20 scenes because you're a little bit more seedier than I am, and you want that coin.
Thanks for putting that out there, but yes, it's true.
And I might be a little bit mad that you got more scenes than I did, but I'm going to understand at the end of the day or the end of the week that this is all part of our job and this is how it works. So elevating one's career, I'm not sure how dating somebody else makes, like, why that doesn't seem to make sense to me.
So from my understanding,
with our relationship or
no, between Jax and Jesse.
Yeah.
And then Jax and Troye.
Right. He's
only dating these people so that his name is more prevalent and more out there in the gay porn scene industry. So that's why he's dating them, so that he can say, oh, I'm dating this person. We're a power, because it even mentions in the article that they're a power couple. So he made this union so that he could only elevate his name and his status, basically.
And do you think that there's a hotness factor to knowing a couple is kind of together and there's a mystery to it?
You mean as a third party coming from outside?
Yeah, I mean, like reading about, like, when you see these two performers are a couple.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think their hotness factor kind of goes up, right? And so if he's known for being with twinks and he's with this one hot twink, and then it gets in the story that now he's with this other hot twink, you're right. It could boost his hotness factor up there, get him some news press, because he also told the writer of Straight Up Gay Porn, and he interviewed with them and said, well, you didn't get it all right, but you're going to write whatever you want. And he tried to supply them with some information. So he's totally aware that this is happening, but acting like he's sort of not about it. And so I think you're right. A lot of this is publicity in the end.
I think so. But also, so the part that is kind of not really clear to me, because you mentioned it, this is their job is to do porn. So where is the jealousy coming in as far as them recording? But it really comes down to what you and your partner have agreed to, and as far as the terms of your relationship. So maybe he went outside of the bounds of what they agreed to in their relationship. And that's where the disconnect, and that's where the hurt is coming from on Troye's behalf. You see me, I had to think about who it was.
Yeah, I know. It's all very messy, and I don't know why exactly. I mean, but it makes for fun reading, and just to see that they're no different than actors, and
they are no different than us. They're gay porn stars. They're just like us.
Just like us. Damn it. I need a side piece though, and I need a boyfriend next, and then I can have my kerfuffle.
Actually, they're not just like us.
They're not. No. Oh my God. All right. Well, maybe we should do this next. Well, no, we'll do this next story. We need to give some advice. And somebody on Reddit recently was asking for advice for topping. He's been a bottom for the most part and looking for tips. He writes, for the majority of my past, I have acted as the bottom during hookups. I have topped a couple times, but have a lot more experience being a bottom. So his backstory is he recently came out and he's wanting to switch things up. So the last guy, he said, I was with had no desire to bottom. However, I am really wanting to get better at being a top. So this guy's 32. He's in great shape, he writes. He's masculine and really enjoyed being the dominant one in some of his past flings. Oh, maybe I should reach out to him. So for some reason, he writes, I tend to come quickly when topping, most of which my experience as a top was back in college. So about 10 years ago. Anyone have advice on how I can get over that? I had some advice, but I wanted to hear from you first as the resident top of tonight's kerfuffle.
I say go slow.
For practical reasoning,
and try and pace yourself out there. Also have a numbing cream that you can use in order to desensitize things a little bit. But
I think a good practical, like immediate, because I have some long-term things that I'm going to talk about. But yeah, that's a good one to like for now, like if
Yeah.
like if tonight he wants to fuck a guy, yeah.
Yeah. And also just practice makes perfect. So yeah, I just say
Practice makes
keep doing it.
Yeah, and most guys will be patient. I mean, I've had guys like, oh, barely get in, and then they're like about to come, and it is a little bit annoying if you're just getting into it, the D, and they're
I,
like, oh,
I've only had guys be like, "Can you hurry it up? I've got somewhere to be in half an hour."
those are some bossy bottoms you're speaking of. I'm not like that. I want to enjoy the experience.
Good. I'm glad.
But I think for if you're a new top, we've talked about this on other shows, practice with tantra and edging. I think we had Will Tantra on, and you can practice on it's a great way to spend a Friday night if you're just by yourself or whenever, and just slowly work it up and feel the build up and then let it go. Don't release, and have a whole night of sensuality where you build up without releasing, and you'll train yourself to work up that so it'll simulate fucking. There's also some great toys out there, all
The
those
toys.
flesh
That's a
jacks
good
do
point.
the same thing too, that you can edge your way into lasting longer and train your way to being a better, longer lasting top. So I think that would be some great advice. And in the meantime, if you were like in the middle of training, you just started training, it's back to school, and you can back to school and you're training, you're doing your edging, but you can then actually, if you want to practice, just try it or use some numbing cream or find some patient partners that will work with you too, because there's a lot of them out there. I'm raising my hand as we speak. So what does Silas say?
Silas says smaller toys and tons of lube. So I agree with that.
Oh,
because the only thing I was gonna, the tantric thing and masturbating, for me, it's a different sensation than if you use a toy or if you're actually engaging in anal intercourse. I was gonna say the F word.
Fuck it. You could do the tantra thing though with a nice toy, like the flesh jacks.
I agree.
Or that have the puckered up. There was an adult, a porn star that they modeled his puckered up hole to be like his. I mean, whether it really is like the pucker,
it feels like
most of our holes look the same, unless you're an outie, because you've done it too many times, and then you're an outie.
You know what? I've been looking at the
Outies?
replica. No.
And I'm not talking about belly buttons.
I've been looking at the rubber butts, and I want to get. Yeah, I want to get one of those.
Wouldn't that be a great toy to practice on?
I think so, because then you can just grab onto it and just go to.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Put a little pumpkin, because we're going into October, as a head. Or if you're on a budget, use a pumpkin.
Wow.
All right, we got to move on to another Reddit, and this one is driving me crazy because Kodi, the difference between being called cute over hot.
Yes.
So literally always
this is in my wheelhouse.
Okay, so literally always this person gets compliments, but it's always cute, not handsome, not hot. It just hits differently. Anyone agree? He would love for someone to go, "You're so damn hot / handsome, I'd suck your cock dry." Well, okay, Reddit writer, I'd like that too. I've had that happen. Whereas "You're so cute, I take you to my parents," he writes, just hits differently. And the one person that wrote in, I could not help but read this one. Somebody writes in, "Yes, I just had this. I was talking to a guy on the phone. We have never met in person, but met on an app. We have also video chatted, and I called him sexy. He took a moment and then told me I'm cute but not sexy, and that we are both pretty average."
Wow.
Can you imagine?
That's horrible. I would block them immediately because
here they are talking, and he could have just said, you know what, if he was really being honest and he said, oh, thank you, I think you're really cute, he could have just left it at that.
Leave it right there.
Why do you have
okay?
to add we're both pretty average? I mean, maybe you're average. Speak for yourself on that one.
And the double put down, he put the other guy down and put himself down as well. I'm like, that's not okay.
Well,
live your best life.
Well, okay, this brings up a good question. Do you think that is it a put down if you just think you're a 5 or a 4 in a scale of 1 to 10?
Yes.
In terms of a 6. Well, not everybody is. Some people are brilliant minded, but they're not. Who do I love?
They
who
have
do we love
other
on the
attributes.
show? They have other attributes, but they yeah. Okay,
I think you need to think that you're the sexiest thing alive in order to. Confidence is paramount when it comes to actually going out and dating people. So I think that you need to really think that you're.
But I think you need to be realistic too. You can be
okay. There's a balance to it, I would say. Yes, you're right. You need to be realistic.
We're gonna get in hot water here, I can tell.
It's okay. We're constantly in hot water, and I'm here for it. But I do think so. As a person that has to bear this cute, like this totally adorable cross right now,
who are we talking about?
Hello. Is she her me? Okay.
I think a lot of people probably think you're hot.
You think
or
so?
Sexy. Yeah.
Thank you.
But do you think there's
I've gotten
difference,
cute
though?
a lot. I've gotten cute a lot. It's because I have smaller features. Like my nose is small. So
I hear you. I get handsome a lot.
A rounder face. You do? Good. Yeah, I see you. I see handsome for you. You're beautiful.
Thank you. But handsome isn't. So here, I was thinking about this. I mean, there's been moments when, I'm going to the Eagle and I'm wearing a certain look, or and I think I feel sexy, and people have commented I'm sexy. But in general, if I was to go across the board on what people say, it's probably handsome. Handsome is not cute. It's not sexy. It's handsome. And I'm not mad at it. I think it's great. But I think my last thought on this, or one of my last thoughts on it, is people that are considered truly sexy that I've known have sometimes a burden on their, like, everyone's drawn to them, and at least the gay guys that I know often have this over sexualized way. They always feel like they're on with sex, and it's always about sex. And so I don't know that would be a great thing either.
I agree that it's a burden, and I agree that you have to constantly fit the mold of sexy if you are categorized as a sexy person. I think that if you are qualified as handsome like you, or cute and adorable and lovable like me, I don't
know those other adjectives, but yeah,
we can
thirsty.
We can venture out into other aspects of our personality.
And you're right. And to your point, we all have crossover at times. I think there's times in the morning where the last thing I feel is sexy, when I'm just,
oh my God,
getting my
coffee. Feel sexy in the morning.
And I do better as the day goes on, and I look better as the day goes on, and I get into my roles and looks. And so I think, but it can be, but I don't know that when somebody says, oh, you're cute, sometimes people said in the thread that it can also mean that it's a compliment too. Like, I've said people are cute, and I mean, I would sleep with them.
I agree that cute is a good adjective. I think it's across the board a good adjective to have, but sometimes it can mean that you are not necessarily somebody that you want to sleep with. It just means that you look like the best friend, or you look like the guy on the boy next door, basically.
Okay, so I guess to that point, then, remember I was talking about the people that just kind of ooze sexual.
Antonio Banderas, which is I wouldn't categorize as handsome or cute.
No, and sometimes I think those people have to. I can remember our friend. So our friend that's been on the show, friend to the show, Sebastian Lacause, I think is naturally sexy, and I will never
Hmm.
forget. I was at a party with them, and he ran into a friend, and I was interviewing people there, and I was standing, and he literally was talking to this person that he knew, and he said, "My eyes are up here." Like the guy
Oh,
was really like.
whoop.
And like he couldn't get
Sebastian
a
is sexy.
serious moment in the conversation because it seemed like the guy was just so enthralled. And I could feel that with him. So I feel like maybe they have to work a little harder. That
To
being
be
said, I feel like the quote unquote people that maybe get called cute a lot, there is somebody out there that finds them hot and sexy and they're getting the D and laid all the time too. It's just different strokes for different. Okay.
call my boyfriend.
Yeah. So I mean, I think yeah, but all are great. But I think if you're on the extreme of some of these, you might feel some of these things at times
Boxed in,
amplified.
caged in. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Silas
yeah.
is saying not everyone is hot. So they need a reality check. Some people are self-aware, and that's okay. That they know that they basically are not sexy. So
And you know what? To that point, not everybody is hot, but some people can be made to look or feel sexy at times. If you put somebody in a harness
in a
and
jock strap,
and they can feel sexy and they might even appear sexy. It's not.
yeah.
There's just we all have levels of being that in certain times. Some people just ooze natural hotness and
Yeah.
it's across the board. Drop the mic and enough said. Yeah.
Silas also says that he'll fuck cute. So if there's some cute guys out there.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Silas, for fucking the cuties of the world. No, I get it. Yeah, it's an interesting debate and thing that comes up. I mean, I think, yeah, I'm all for it. We have got to move on though, because I want to
Sure.
get into hygiene of the week conversation. I was laughing because I was going on a hike with my sister the other day, and she literally like stopped me and said, "Oh my God, I think I forgot to put deodorant on." And
Been
I've
there.
had that moment too. So
Oh,
it's not
totally.
where you're just like, shit. And I said, "Don't worry, I always come prepared." And I pulled out my little mini deodorant and we were good to go. But it got me
Nice.
thinking because a lot of celebrities, including Lizzo, came out saying she doesn't believe in deodorant and she's
My
not wearing
girl.
it. Yes, she's your girl, not mine. And Janet wears deodorant. And so because Janet's dancing. And so, anyways, I just think, and then my other story with the deodorant debate or no deodorant debate is I go to a place here in New York that's a cruise bar, and oftentimes people do not like deodorant. They want that natural man scent. But I was there the other day and this guy came up to me and I thought it was a different guy. And I said, "Oh," and I stopped him and I literally was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were somebody else." But he lingered around like, "Oh, that's okay." And he started
Okay.
he wanted to chit chat. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And we started chit chatting. It was almost like Pigpen, Pigpen, the cloud of
Oh, I
Pigpen
do. I know
that was
Pigpen.
moving and all of a sudden hit my nostrils. It came slowly.
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh my God." I hope my face didn't crack because I was like,
you know it did.
my face cracked. I could not get away from it. It was all consuming to me. And it just, I couldn't handle it. Like, I can't handle cigarette smoke. I'm so
Like you
fair
say, I
weathered.
can't.
I can't with the scent. How are you on this? And do you wear deodorant?
I wear deodorant constantly. My boyfriend he complains because I get little clumps sometimes because I
Not the
wear so much.
clumps.
You know why? Because I wear the white stuff because the other kind of deodorant breaks me out because I have
She's
very
sensitive,
sensitive skin.
Well,
I have
butch it
very
up. I'm speaking of his t-shirt, y'all.
There she
Yeah,
is.
there she is.
But yeah, I could not. So I will tell you this story really quick. I was before I had a boyfriend, I was checking this guy out. He was beautiful, everything. I went over, he raised his arms. I think we were on a train and he raised his arm to grab onto the railing so he wouldn't fall. And this scent just wafted through and I knew it was him. And I said, this is not the one for me. It was
to the N to the O to the yeah, no.
I need a nice fresh smell. Also, if you put on, I'll tell you one more story. Are you ready?
Yeah.
If you wear too much cologne, perfume, it can be off-putting as well. Because
good point.
I was dating this guy and he was making breakfast for me, and I think I was drinking the night before, so this it enhances my olfactory glands. And he wears so much cologne that it made me nauseous, and I had to leave immediately, and I never called him again. And we had been on several dates.
Yeah, it's a deal breaker for a lot of us. And sorry, Lizzo, but no, I'm wearing. In other hygiene news, there is a TikTok doctor out there, again with the TikTok doctors, explaining the disgusting reason why you should never, ever sleep naked. Kodi, do you sleep naked with your boyfriend?
Constantly. I never sleep with clothes on.
Well, you might want to rethink that, because this popular TikToker, Dr. Anthony Yoon, is known as America's holistic plastic surgeon, at least according to YouTube. And Dr. Yoon he's written several books. And he said, while many people sleep in pajamas or a t-shirt and some lightweight shorts, numerous others prefer to feel the night air and the cool sheets on their entire body and sleep in the nude. These are the people he's talking about. And here you go. He says the average person passes gas, not me, but the average person, 15 to 25 times a day.
Okay.
And this can happen while you're sleeping, says the good doc. And there's a scientific study that proved that every time you pass gas, you are spraying a tiny amount of fecal matter.
What is this story?
This is true, even if it's not a real shirt, as he says. And,
wow.
And that same study showed that your tighty whities will catch all these particles. So they say, for the sake of your bed partner or your boyfriend, Kodi, please sleep with your underwear on. And I mean, I just have to say, one of my favorite guys that I dated, that I talked about on this show, that I knew in the 90s, and then I got together with him, and it was the best sex, and he was literally sexy. Like, he oozed sexy, and we had the best sex. And after sex, he would let me sleep like in that little nook inside, which I love. But
I love it.
He would put on, because he had huge, that too, but he had huge legs, and he would put on his boxers, like the man straight boxer types, which I thought was hot. And I would put on my tighty whities, and then we would get into bed and sleep. And so I think that, I'm all for that. And because of the spraying and all that, I'm not for it.
I sleep naked. I have actually, don't tell my boyfriend.
Do not tell your boyfriend that, because he will not want to from here on out.
He's farted on me before in bed.
Oh my
I did not care. I just cuddled him closer.
And but yet you.
Oh my God! I hope you get to listen to this.
So that's okay, but the guy that just had a little bit of BO on the train, that's like deal breaker.
We are in love, honey.
Wow.
It's true.
Okay. Well, at least now you know what's going on, and if that day you know what really went on when he.
Oh my goodness! I have something so dirty to say, but I'm not going to
say it. Say it. You have to now.
Do you think I'm scared of a little bit of poop? Just a little bit.
Oh my God! We have totally gone there. I cannot believe it. Okay. Well, we've got to get to our. Do we have time for it, or we'll move it to next week?
Let's do it. Just
okay. Our
quick.
Favorite segment, Thirst Trap Thursday, when this airs, and it's where we descriptively describe, according to Straight Up Gay Porn, who took out of these 22 this week's gay porn stars the best video or photo, and who is your favorite that you're going to descriptively describe.
So even though my pretend boo Italo is on the menu this week, I got to give my vote to JT. It's a video. So that's 1 point right there. He's turned around showing his ass at the beginning of the video. So that's 2 points right there. And then when the video starts, he starts jumping up and down and making his ass clap together. And
I saw it.
just like Lady Gaga, I live for the applause. Okay.
Applause, applause. I love that.
And
we will
then,
go ahead. Oh, there's
and
an
then and then he turns around and he encourages other porn stars to partake in the ass clapping challenge. And I teared up a little bit. I was like, thank you for blessing us, JT. Thank you so much.
And maybe you should do your version of it, and
Oh,
we can all vote. Yeah.
Okay.
Get into it. Get into the challenge.
We'll see.
Okay. Well,
We'll
mine
talk about
goes. Speaking of hooking up and sniffies on cruising, I couldn't help but choose Justin Matthews and Elliot Finn. These two guys are in the wilderness or outdoor woods area, hanging out naked, and they look really great. They're one sitting down on a tree stump, like huge tree stump, looking great, and the other one is standing up next to him, and it just harkened. They have great bodies and everything like that, and they're naked. It just was like outdoors, and we've been talking a lot about outdoor sex and just being outdoor naked, and so they get my vote for this week's Justin Matthews and Elliot Finn. But we will post this up on Straight Up Gay on our TAGSPodcast.com for you to vote.
Beautiful.
Lastly, I couldn't help but say, if you are in California, please vote no on the recall. Gay California lawmaker Evan Lowe joins Grindr, of all places, to campaign against the recall. And if you are in California, you need to consider, as he did, voting for no. So if you have that ballot, just put no on there, put it in the mail, and send it off before the 14th and get it in, because otherwise who knows who we're going to have, some conservative in the state, and we can't have that. So vote no, get active and do it. And
that's right, do that.
Yeah, well, this has been jam-packed, super fun.
Oh yeah,
all the stories will be on TAGSPodcast.com. I want to thank Kodi Maurice Doggette as always. You can follow him on Instagram. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching, or his personal account, where maybe you'll see him do that experiment, the jiggle the butt at Mr. Maurice, and follow us at Tags Podcast. In the meantime, thanks, Kodi. So much fun.
Thank you, darling.
Continue
as always.
Having hot,
gay
sex.
Yes.
Love it. Yes. Let's see that walk.